Hey guys, my name's Spencer. I'm a disc golfer up here in Missoula, Montana, which means that our courses are covered in about 1.5 feet of snow right now, which makes it a little bit treacherous to get out and play. So, I decided this off season that I would go through and start making some disc review videos. When I was switching my bag over, my whole bag is MVP and Axiom at this point. When I was switching my bag over, I didn't see a ton of opinions or a ton of different resources out there as far as information about the disc or different people's opinions. So I figured that I would go through, give myself something to do while it's a little snowy outside, and work my way through my bag. So I've started with the Proton Matrix. The only thing it's been released in so far is a Proton Plastic. It's a faster mid-range, real flat on top, beadless, and overstable. MVP has it described as their most overstable mid-range, and I don't know if I quite agree with that. I think I've thrown both the Tensor and the Vector as well as the Matrix, and I think both of those have a little bit more dump at the end. They have a little sharper bite when they come into their fading phase. The Matrix has a much smoother and much more gradual gliding fade to it. I think that it's definitely extremely consistent, which is what I've been really enjoying about the disc. I threw and still throw the Alias mid-range from Axiom, and they don't quite have that same bite at the end. They're a really straight disc, and I love them for tunnel shots or a lot of control. But the Matrix has really great consistency without being too much of a meat hook or anything. I did get the chance earlier today to go out and finally test it in some wind. I have some video in here. Sadly, you can't hear me talking at all because of the wind. That's where my other Matrix is outside buried in the snow somewhere. I'll be looking for that in the morning. But I was extremely surprised with how well it did in the wind. That was my only worry about this disc. As soon as I got it, I just have been loving how this thing flies. It's got extremely controllable lines. It's really fast, but still having that consistency. I'd say it flies a lot like a Rock 3 or somewhere between if you combined the Axis and the Vector with that controllable, shapeable lines that the Axis brings while also having that really consistent overstability that the Vector brings. When I pull it through at about 90% power, it'll turn just a little and finish dead straight if I throw it flat. If I throw it about 75% power, it'll go straight for a long time, that low, slow, gradual fade at the end. So far, I've been extremely pleased with it. I throw it on a hyzer. I don't have any issues with it turning and running from me or trying to flip up to flat. It rides the hyzer lines the whole way there. And when I throw it on an anti line, it holds the line without dumping over to the right. I've put some pretty sharp anties underneath of it and really given it some power, and it just really does a good job of holding a gradual turn the whole way there. And no point does it really go sharp either direction, which makes it really controllable and gives it some really good pinpoint accuracy and consistency. With that fine line of stability, I kind of worried about how it would do in the wind, especially with the way that it turned a little on held anti lines. I was worried when I took it out in the wind that it would become a little finicky and get pushed one way or the other, or that it would start to flip because it's on such a fine line. And I took it out just a little bit ago and threw it in the wind, and I was blown away by how well it held up. I threw both this one and my other one flat, straight, and threw them probably 85% power, and they just held that straight line the whole way to the ground. There was a little bit of drift from the 174, the one that's still out there. A little bit of right turning drift, but neither one of them ran to the right. Both of them held the straight line all the way to the ground. There was almost no fade in them, but they did not turn at all in the face of probably 30-mile-an-hour winds, 35-mile-an-hour winds that was left to right. So really impressed with how they did there. As far as pros for this disc, its ability to stand up at the wind was incredible. Its consistency has made me really happy and given me a lot of trust in the disc. I really like how gradual the fade is and how I can count on it to really hold those lines all the way to the ground for both consistency and for maximum distance with that fade. It really fades forward. Cons of the disc, besides the fact that one of them is buried in the snow outside, I haven't found any yet. Because it's beadless, thin, and flat, I really love the way it feels in my hands. And the flight has just been getting better and better the more ways I try and use this. I haven't really found anything yet. Maybe the couple of forehands that I've done with it, I don't have the most consistent forehand, but the few forehands that I've done, I have had a couple issues with it just extending the straight portion of the flight further than what I need it to do. When I'm looking for kind of a little bit of a hook shot, it has the tendency to go a little straight and a little bit long, probably just from the extra snap that you get in a forehand throw. So we'll have to see as I keep messing with it, hopefully get my forehand a little more consistent this year, what it does. But that's my only complaint so far. Other than that, this thing has become a go-to disc for me. It's slowly taking over the entire mid-range slot in my bag. If you're expecting it to be a real meat hook and the most overstable mid-range MVP is made, you might want to look at something like the Vector, or what I use for those real hard fading flex shots or skip shots of big hyzers and mid-range length, as I use the Resistor. But if you're looking for a great controllable consistent go-to mid-range, I would 100% recommend the Matrix. I've loved this thing so far. Couldn't be happier with this disc. So I'm going to continue using it, maybe get back to you if I find out anything more about it. If you guys have any more questions about the Matrix, feel free to leave me a comment down in the comment section. Any comments about the videos, things you want to know more about, or if you have a suggestion for what disc you'd like to see next as I keep working my way through my bag, feel free to let me know. I'll try to get to all of them. Thank you guys for watching, and talk to you soon.